Okay, and then problem number 9, we have y equals 4 over x minus 2. Now, as we graph this guy, we start first with our asymptotes. Our vertical asymptote, remember you set your denominator equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0. Oh, adding 2 to both sides. My vertical asymptote is at x equals 2. Next, I want to consider my horizontal asymptote. When I consider my horizontal asymptote, if I don't have a k, I think about my degrees on top and bottom. My degree on top is 0 because I technically have an x to the 0th attached. And my degree on bottom is 1. I've got x to the 1st. So, since my degree on my denominator is less than my degree in my numerator, I automatically have y equals 0 for my horizontal asymptote. So I draw that guy in. And then I start to consider points that I can plug in. So I want to pick values for x that are to the left and to the right of that vertical asymptote. Looks like I have a pretty good time plugging in 0 and positive 1 to the left. And then let's just go 3 and, I don't know, 9 to be crazy to the right. Plugging in 0, we have 4 over 0 minus 2. What's 4 over negative 2? 4 divided by negative 2 is a negative 2. So apparently my y-intercept is at negative 2. Plugging in positive 1. 4 over, 1 minus 2, negative 1. 4 over negative 1, negative 4. And sure enough, it looks like our graph is going to be shooting downwards at that vertical asymptote. Plugging in positive 3. 3 minus 2, we get 1. 4 divided by 1 is a positive 4. We can plot that point. I'm plugging in 9. Just because I can. 9 minus 2, my denominator is 7. So at 9, I'm at 4/7. That is barely above 0, which makes sense because I expect my graph to level off towards y equals 0. So I connect these points with some branches, drawing in the only shape that makes sense, remembering that my asymptotes guide my graph. Make sure that I can tell that your lines approach your horizontal asymptote, they don't cross them, and they don't bounce back from them. Now, as we think about how this graph has changed, we notice the 4 on top, that's like an A value. That causes our graph to stretch by a factor of 4. And my minus 2 on bottom causes my graph to have a horizontal shift right 2. My domain for this guy, everything except my vertical asymptote, x cannot be 2. And my range, everything except my horizontal asymptote, y can't be 0. Okay, number 11, I have 4x minus 3 over x minus 4. We jump into our asymptotes. Our vertical asymptote, when in doubt, set your denominator equal to 0. It's going to be equal to something. X minus 4 equals 0. We add 4 to both sides. My vertical asymptote is at x equals 4. Then I consider my horizontal asymptote. Where is my graph going to start to level off? Well, in this case, my degree on top is 1, and so is my degree on bottom. When that's the case, my horizontal asymptote is y equals the ratio of my leading coefficients. Well, I've got 4 divided by 1. That's also up at 4. This time we've got a horizontal line. Now I plug in values to the left and to the right of that vertical asymptote. So lucky me, I can plug in 0 and 1, so let's do that. And then to the right of that, maybe let's go 5 and 8. I don't know, doesn't matter. Plugging in 0, I have 4 times 0 minus 3 over 0 minus 4. Well, that's negative 3 over negative 4. That's a positive 3/4. And then plugging in 1, that gives me 4 times 1 is 4. Minus 3 would be a numerator of 1. Over negative 3, we're looking at a negative 1/3. Plugging in positive 5, we've got 4 times 5 minus 3, which would be 20 minus 3 would be 17 over 1. Whoa, didn't plan for that. So it's going to be way up there, like there. Call it a day. And then plugging in 8, we have 4 times 8 would be 32 minus 3 gets me at 29 over 8 minus 4. 29 divided by 4, that's going to be 7 1/4. So I go right 8 up 7 and a little bit extra. Now connecting these dots, again, there's really only one option. My branches have to level off or shoot downward and upwards at my asymptotes. So if you'd like to draw in a little bit more of your vertical asymptote and your horizontal so that we can more easily see that it's approaching it, go for it. We don't really have to though. Now in this one, we aren't going to have to worry about how does this guy, or how do we graph this guy based on y equals 1 over x, thinking about our transformations, but what we can still talk about is domain and range. Our domain, we are going to think about everything except my vertical asymptote. X cannot be positive 4. My range, everything but my horizontal asymptote. Y cannot be 4 as well. That worked out well. And we're done graphing that guy.